Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video at my YouTube channel and blog. A few weeks ago, my friend Dawn over at W Plus 9 sent me their latest release, and I've been just dying to use some of the stamp sets. I'm going to use 3 different stamp sets today. Of course, I think these stamp sets could stand alone by themselves. You could definitely make an amazing card with just each individual stamp set, but I'm going to use them all together today and give you guys an example of some fun metallic embossing on top of coloring. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it. So the 3 stamp sets are this first one called Beautiful Butterflies. I absolutely love that really large greeting. The next one is called So Very with those handwritten sentiments. And then also Autumn Blessings. And the sunflowers in this set are what I'm going to be using for the main images on my cards today. So I'm going to start out with this large wreath image from the Autumn Blessings stamp set, and I'm going to stamp this on some Neenah Environmental Desert Storm cardstock and Gina K Amalgam ink. I'm going to be using Copic markers to color all of the cards today, and so I want to use an ink that is Copic friendly. This particular ink works well with Copics, and it's nice and black. I did end up stamping all of my images twice just to make sure I got nice, really black, solid lines. And using a MISTI stamp positioning tool is a great way to do this. I also stamped the individual sunflower on a separate piece of this Desert Storm cardstock. I'm going to do 2 cards today, and the second card is actually going to be colored on white cardstock. So I'm stamping some of the sunflower images onto some Neenah Classic Crest Solo Write cardstock. And I'm also creating a mask for the first flower. And I'm going to trim this out, fussy cutting it, and then I'm going to place the mask over the top of the flower I've already stamped. And this is going to protect that first flower while I stamp another flower next to it, and then it makes it look like these flowers are up against each other. Just gives it a nice clustered look, and it makes sure that those lines don't overlap. So I'm going to go ahead and take some scissors, and when I remove masks, I hate having to use my fingernails to try to grab the mask because sometimes my nail polish will transfer to the card because I always wear nail polish. So instead, I like to use scissors and just slide the blade of my scissors underneath that mask and then lift it off. So now I'm going to do some very, very simple Copic coloring. I'm going to have 2 different color combinations for flowers. One will be more of an orange yellow flower, and the other will be more of just a yellow flower. So this first one is the more orange combination, and I started out by coloring the entire flower with the lightest shade, which is YR21, and then I came in with the darkest shade, which is YR68, and added that color to the shadow areas. I then brought in the middle shade and kind of feathered up and blended up from those shaded areas. And then to finish it off, I went back to that original lightest shade and kind of blended those colors together. And this is the coloring method that I used for all of the flowers and all of the leaves on both cards. So I started out with the lightest shade. Then I came in with the darkest shade and added shadows to those areas that are on the interior of the flower or behind other petals. And then I came in with that middle shade. And in this color combination, the brightness of the yellow really comes out when you add that middle shade, since it is a more bright yellow. And then I came back with the lightest yellow just to blend out that color and make sure that those colors transitioned a little bit more nicely. As far as the leaves go, I did 2 different colors of leaves on this particular card. I did green and red. On the second card, I did not do any red leaves. I decided to have the berries be the red shade, but I basically did the same exact steps, except I only used 2 colors on the green. I just used YG95 and YG99, and then I just went over those transition areas to try to blend it as best that I could. As for the little acorn and the center of the flowers, I used 2 brown shades. I used E55, which I colored first, and then I used E57, which is the darker brown shade, and I think it's E59, and I brought that in as a shadow on all those other areas. So I'm going to bring in this darkest brown, and then I'll come back with the lighter brown and blend out that transition. So for images like this, where you don't need a ton of different colors, I like to just stick with one color scheme. So I basically have orange, yellow, green, brown, and a little bit of red. Very fall shades. I'm excited to do a fall card after the last video I did, which was a Christmas card. I feel like we completely skipped autumn, so it's kind of fun to go to backtrack a bit and do an autumn card. So this is really fitting. So I'm using the same exact coloring methods for this other card. So I've sped up the video a little bit, but you can see how different these colors look on a different color of cardstock. Just by coloring on top of this craft colored cardstock, it dulls out all of the colors and gives it a much different look. And I'll show you the cards side by side here when I'm done coloring. In the meantime, I'm just going to let some music play and you can enjoy the rest of the coloring. After all the coloring was finished, I trimmed out that individual flower. I'm planning to have this one popped up off the front of the card, so I needed to trim it out and fussy cut around that flower. So here are the two cards. You can see the difference in color, how the color of the cardstock affects the different Copic markers on top. So for the greeting on this first card, I've prepped the area with an anti-static powder tool, and then I'm using the Thankful greeting from the So Very stamp set. This is a really large greeting, so it's perfect for the main focal area of the card. And I stamped that in Versamark and then coated it in some gilded embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. This is a nice gold shade. I thought it would go well with the more autumn tones that I've chosen for my color scheme. And after I tapped off the excess, I heat set that with my heat tool until it was smooth and melted. I also stamped 2 additional phrases from the stamp set so that it reads, "So very thankful for you." And I did the exact same steps using some Versamark ink, applying the gilded embossing powder, and then heat setting it. To finish off the edges on this particular card, I decided to do some ink blending on the edges, or some inking on the edges, direct to paper inking, and then I dipped that in the embossing powder. So I used Versamark ink on the edges and then dipped it into that same embossing powder and heat set that with my heat tool until all of the edges were melted. So this is going to finish up the design for this card, basically. I'll just adhere it to a card later. But for the other card, I'm going to take the large greeting from the beautiful butterfly stamp set, and I'm placing that directly over this wreath of sunflowers. I've prepped that area with an anti-static powder tool, and then I'm stamping the greeting in Versamark ink. And instead of using a gold embossing powder, I'm going to use a white. I think I mentioned in the beginning of the video that this was metallic embossing on top of coloring. In this case, it wasn't metallic, it was just white. But I do love how this bright white embossing powder looks on top of the coloring on this craft cardstock. I think it really makes the letters and the typography pop off the front of this card. I used a dry brush to sweep off any embossing powder in areas where I didn't want it. And then I used my heat tool to heat set this. So I'm going to add that little flower that I cut out, and I'm going to have it be overlapping on the right side, right above the orange flower. So I'm going to place it right on top there. So as far as the card bases go, I'm using 2 different colors, basically the same colors that I used for my cards, but they're going to be swapped. So the craft colored design will be on a white card base, and the white design will be on a craft colored card base. So I just put some foam adhesive on the back of each and then place that down onto each card front. So I've got two different cards that look very similar. They look like they're related because of that sunflower image. And I've done some embossing over the top of each of the colored cards. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed those ideas on how to do a flower background and then some text embossing on top. I think they turned out so pretty and sophisticated. I hope you guys enjoyed them too. On screen, I've got two more cards for you to check out. These are some great fall or autumn cards, so I hope you'll check those out. And before you go, don't forget to hit the like button, that thumbs up button. That lets me know you enjoy this video and would love to see more. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in another video very soon.